a new P pops up to the big stew of this insane behavior by Hollywood elites and regular people. And it just so happened that this week was my brother's popping up of the pea in the stew.
Randy Fowler is talking about his brother, longtime actor Kevin Spacey, who's the latest Hollywood name connected to sexual harassment allegations.
I don't really know Kevin Spacey, but I do know Kevin Fowler, you know, because he was my little brother. Fowler
says it's been a little more than a decade since he last spoke to his little brother at their mother's funeral.
He's been elusive my entire life, you know, since about 1980 when we both grew up and moved out. I've only seen him 5 times in 40 years.
It was at one of those meetings Randy unveiled the truth to his family of what was going on under their roof growing up.
And I come from a shattered, broken family that lived in secret.
Fowler saying that secret being he suffered years of sexual and physical abuse from their father.
I had all forms of child abuse done to me by my father. My father was actually, he was a very sick man mentally.
Randy doesn't know if Kevin or his sister endured the same abuse he did, but Fowler says he did try to protect his siblings.
I did what I could to protect my brother from the creature. That's what we call him in the book. Don't know if I couldn't protect him all the time. And maybe my father did the same thing to him.
It's something Fowler says he's unsure if his brother has ever been willing to accept.
But he's never been able to deal with it. So it's easier for him to not have anything to do with the family.
And after years of trying to reach out, Fowler says even with these recent allegations, he's done, but would love to hear from his brother.
He's got my number. I don't have any way to get a hold of him, you know. I would love to hear from him. I really would. Regardless of everything that's gone down, we're still family.
I'm not one to judge, but come on.
I'm Mary Hart. Welcome back to Entertainment Tonight.
Well, hold on and say, hey, what the heck are you doing? I thought we were chatting just now. Hi, I'm Steven Seagal.
So you started acting, how old were you when you started acting?
My first film, I was 11.
11 years old. So this is from, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is your first red carpet premiere.
It is my first red
Under Siege 2. That's Steven Seagal and Eric Bogosian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good times. What do you think Steven said in that moment?
Oh, I can't even, I would love to know what Steven said.
I would love to know, too. I have no recollection.
Did he say, is there anything he said during the shooting that sticks out for you, Seagal-wise? He seems very quotable.
Yeah, probably. Well, my favorite was at the last day of filming, and again, I had just turned 16 on this movie, and he said, you know, Katie, I've got girlfriends your age, and I said, isn't that illegal? And he said, they don't seem to mind, and I said, Mom! I'm not making that up. Steven, I love ya.
Well, that brings us to this photograph, because this was taken that very day.
Oh, my God!
Steven was...
Portia de Rossi and Jenny McCarthy have come forward and accused director Steven Seagal of sexual harassment. 44-year-old de Rossi was the first to speak out against the 65-year-old filmmaker, and she detailed her alleged experience with him in a Twitter post on Wednesday, November 8th. McCarthy also shared a story similar to de Rossi's. In each case, both women were auditioning for roles in front of Seagal, and he would then ask them to disrobe in front of him. McCarthy claimed he warned her not to tell anybody of the alleged encounter, or else.
That's not usually my problem. These days my problem is very simple. It's trying to find a place in my house where I can masturbate without somebody bothering me. And that's really difficult.
Comedian and actor Louis C.K. has just responded to accusations of sexual misconduct. Here is his statement. I want to address the stories told to the New York Times by 5 women named Abby, Rebecca, Dana, Julia, and one who felt unable to name herself. These stories are true. At the time, I said to myself that what I did was okay because I never showed a woman my blank without asking first, which is also true. But what I learned later in life, too late, is that when you have power over another person, asking them to look at your blank isn't a question. It's a predicament for them. The power I had over these women is that they admired me, and I wielded that power irresponsibly. I have been remorseful of my actions, and I've tried to learn from them and run from them. Now I'm aware of the extent of the impact of my actions. I learned yesterday the extent to which I left these women who admired me feeling badly about themselves and cautious around other men who would never have put them in that position. I also took advantage of the fact that I was widely admired in my and their community, which disabled them from sharing their story and brought hardship to them when they tried because people who look up to me didn't want to hear it. I didn't think that I was doing any of that because my position allowed me not to think about it. There is nothing about this that I forgive myself for, and I have to reconcile it with who I am, which is nothing compared to the task I left them with. I wish I had reacted to their admiration of me by being a good example to them as a man and given them some guidance as a comedian, including because I admired their work. The hardest regret to live with is that what you've done to hurt someone else, and I can hardly wrap my head around the scope of the hurt I brought on them. I'd be remiss to exclude the hurt that I've brought on the people I work with and have worked with whose professional and personal lives have been impacted by all of this, including projects currently in production, the cast and crew of Better Things, Baskets, The Cops, One Mississippi, and I Love You, Daddy. I deeply regret that this has brought negative attention to my manager, Dave Becky, who only tried to mediate a situation that I caused. I brought anguish and hardship to the people at FX who have given me so much, the Orchard who took a chance on my movie, and every other entity that has bet on me through the years. I brought pain to my family, my friends, my children, and their mother. I've spent my long and lucky career talking and saying anything I want. I will now step back and take a long time to listen. Thank you for reading. That, a statement from Louis C.K. According to a New York Times report, 5 women have accused the comedian of either masturbating in front of them or engaging in other sexual misconduct involving masturbation. After the Times published their report, HBO dropped him from an upcoming special and removed him from its on-demand services. His new film, I Love You, Daddy, which you heard him just reference, has also been scrapped. This, as Netflix announced today, they will not produce a planned Louis C.K. special, saying in a statement of their own, the allegations made by several women in the New York Times about Louis C.K.'s behavior are disturbing. Louis's unprofessional and inappropriate behavior with female colleagues has led us to decide not to produce a second stand-up special, as had been planned.
Jerking off in plain daylight, that's not a homeless guy, that's a married man right there.
I don't really see the appeal of just whipping it out and going to town in front of somebody and making them watch. There's nothing sexy about that to me. But apparently it's like the trend with these motherfuckers.
Terry Crews has filed a police report alleging sexual assault by a high-level Hollywood executive. This has been confirmed by the Los Angeles Police Department. Since Cruz's alleged incident occurred last year, it is within the statute of limitations for sexual assault in the state of California. Last week, The Hollywood Reporter reported that WME agent Adam Venit was the subject of Cruz's tweets. Venit was put on leave by WME. Cruz has not publicly identified Venit, however, and Venit has not yet commented. Now, you may remember that Cruz did tweet about an incident that happened to him, and in part, here's what he was saying. This whole thing with Harvey Weinstein is giving me PTSD. Why? Because this kind of thing happened to me. My wife and I were at a Hollywood function last year, and a high-level Hollywood executive came over to me and groped my privates. He says that his wife saw everything, and that this agent just looked at him like he was totally crazy, and he grinned like a jerk. He says he thought about beating him up, but then he knew that the headline would be 240-pound black man stomps out Hollywood honcho, so he decided not to do that. But Cruz said he talked to everyone he knew who worked with the executive about what happened to him, adding that the executive called him the next day to apologize, but never really explained why he did what he did. He didn't want to take it further at the time because he didn't want to be ostracized, which he says is, quote, par for the course when the predator has power and influence, ending with, who is going to believe you?
Wait a minute, didn't this already happen? Come on. Fucking stoned. If Lurch and Prince had a baby.